How's it going, everyone? Whether a car looks good or not is always subjective, but you can't argue that some cars aren't as gorgeous as others. Car companies always ask their designers to make radical and flashy cars. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. After making my initial video of the top 10 ugliest cars ever made, which has well over 200,000 views, I received countless comments with more additions to my list and asking for another video. If you guys have not already seen that video, feel free to click the link in the top right corner of the screen to watch it now. Before we get started, it's important to remember that not all cars myself and others find hideous, you'll find hideous too. Please keep in mind that looks are always subjective. You probably will disagree with at least one car on this list. With that being said, here's part 2 of the 10 ugliest cars of all time. Number 10. The Aston Martin Lagonda. The Lagonda was one of the most mentioned and shamed exotic cars in the comments of my last video. It appears many despise the looks, and upon viewing more pictures of the car, I can kinda see why. The 4-door behemoth from England featured odd proportions, specifically with a massive hood and front end, as well as excessive overhang on the rear end. To go along with that, the small wheels and huge tires almost make it look like an off-roader. The interior of the Lagonda might be the worst part. The dashboard looks like a flat screen was crammed into a space where a dashboard should be, and the strange wheel design and the rest of the interior followed the same peculiar theme. But hey, at least it had pop-ups. Number 9. The Ford Pinto. The Pinto was one of the more popular cars that came up in the comments. The name Pinto is often synonymous for the bland appearance. It shares similar shape to some of the other vehicles from this time period that will be mentioned later in this list. Beyond the aesthetics, the Pinto became legendary for a bigger issue, and that was of course the car exploding sometimes when it was rear-ended due to bad gas tank location and a bunch of other stupid things. Nice one, Ford. Number 8. The Trabant. Back before the Berlin Wall fell, East Germany tried to create its own version of the Volkswagen Beetle. Today's experiment failed would be something of an understatement. It was poorly designed and a complete flop. Something about the car just looks off. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it just doesn't look right. Number 7. The AMC Pacer. When the Pacer came out in 1975, many called it futuristic, bold, and unique. AMC even produced an electric version to respond to the gasoline crisis in the 70s. But over time, what seemed futuristic started to look downright strange. The Pacer's unorthodox looks became unpopular. As you can probably tell, it looks very similar to the Ford Pinto that was previously mentioned, except, well, just a little bit worse. Number 6. The Toyota Prius. I think this one speaks for itself. The Prius is undeniably one of the most hated automobiles of the 21st century by car enthusiasts everywhere. Cheese wedge looks, the bad reputation of drivers, and the car as a whole has become a massive meme to enthusiasts. But sticking to the topic of looks, let's all just agree that Toyota could have done a little better, especially when it comes to the newest Prius on the market. Granted, a lot of the looks are designed for aerodynamics and to reduce drag, but still, come on Toyota. Number 5. The PT Cruiser. The PT Cruiser was a car that almost made the cut for my initial video, but I decided to leave it off. It won't get away this time and was highly recommended by commenters to be included in a future video. The PT Cruiser's wood cladding and ugly front end are one of the big reasons it makes this list. The interior isn't a whole lot better, and considering it's a Chrysler, don't even think about calling it reliable. Number 4. The Nissan Cube. The Cube was another car mentioned by commenters in my initial video. Its odd design cues, such as the wraparound window that makes it look like a fish tank, along with its odd front and rear end, are why it's on this list. Oddly enough, despite it being called the Cube, you'll notice that just about every edge on the car is curved and not sharp. If you do decide to buy one of these, I would recommend taking it into a nice koi pond or dropping it directly off at the salvage yard. Number 3. The Reliant Robin. The Reliant Robin is one of the biggest memes in the auto industry history. Having only 3 wheels makes it one of the most unique and quite honestly cool cars ever made. It was featured on Old Top Gear with one of my personal favorite segments ever, where Jeremy Clarkson continuously tips the car by taking turns too quickly.
Reliant Robin.
No, not again!
3-wheel setup isn't ideal for that reason and gives the car an overall strange look. Number 2. The Corbin Sparrow. The Sbarro initially reminded me of the car Jeremy Clarkson created on Top Gear and proceeded to drive around in small areas throughout the city, another Top Gear reference. It was an all-electric vehicle that was really more of a motorcycle than a car, and was said to go more than 150 miles on one charge, which really isn't that bad. To quote an article on the Sbarro, when you get a look at its snout nose, jelly bean body, and pizza-shaped butt, you may want to keep it in the garage to charge your iPhone. Number 1. The Sbarro Autobau Concept. Sbarro, which also happens to be the name of a popular pizza joint across much of the United States, apparently also makes hideous concept cars. All jokes aside, the Autobau concept is actually from a different Sbarro company and featured a mid-mounted Ferrari V12 when it debuted at the Geneva Auto Show back in 2010. If I'm being quite honest, I really don't have anything nice to say about this one, and I'll just let all the pictures speak for themselves. So my mom always told me growing up, you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. So there you have it, guys. 10 of the ugliest cars of all time. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Do you agree, disagree? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, and of course, if you have suggestions for another future video, leave those down below as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.